Welcome back, Shop Rats. Today we're back on the 1926 Oakland. If you're not familiar with this project, this is a car that my great-grandfather bought brand new in 1926, and it's been in the family its entire life. Dad will be here in a little while. We've got some cooling system work to continue on with, and well, we got stuff is what I'm trying to say, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is My Cars Shop.
Thought it might be good to update you just a little bit on the history of this car.
Not like the history of this car has changed.
But we have so many new viewers who may not know the story behind this car. My great-grandpa purchased this car brand new in 1926, as I said. They drove it up until 1946. And it was parked and has been parked ever since. And so this car had sat in a garage up until sometime in the early 2000s, I believe it was. And then it was moved from one garage to a new garage. Family lore said that it just needed to be fired up and it could run again. We have a number of episodes here on the channel, like 25 or 75, showing that was not the case. There were engine issues. We replaced valves. Carburetor was absolutely junk and we had to replace it. I mean, literally, it fell apart. The casting was just gone. It just deteriorated. We had issues in the bottom end of the engine. We had to clean out the oiling system. There was just a lot. We had reconditioned the wheels because they were so, wooden wheels, and we went through and sanded all those down and cleaned them up. And, there's just been a lot on this car. We got this car running probably, I forget the exactly, in 21 was the first time it had been run since 1946. We're still sorting out issues with the car. As you've seen in the last few episodes, we've been working on cooling system. The radiator had a leak that we have gotten repaired. But the interior in the car is the original interior. The color is not the original color. Sometime late 30s, early 40s, my grandfather painted this car gray instead of the original olive drab green that it was. You can see spots where the original paint is still coming through. But, like I said, this is the family lore on the car. It is running and driving again. If you saw on the episode that's actually airing tomorrow, which is about a month ago for you guys now, 3 generations, my dad, who rode in this car when he was 3 years old up until he was 3. This car was, he was born in 1943. So 3 years of his life, this was the family transportation. He and my son Joe, the three of us, 3 generations, got to drive in this car together. My dad has driven the car, my son has driven the car, so we're just kind of, it's all in the family, and I don't mean like Archie Bunker. Dad just got here, he's getting changed, and he'll be out here to work in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull the drain valve on the radiator and let that start draining. Looks like there's no easy way to get at it from here. So we put a new ball valve on it, which is going to be really nice for draining and so forth. So that's a good thing. Pretty excited about that. Let's see if I can reach it from under here. Somewhere. There it is. Woohoo! It drains really fast. Still trying to find a motometer for this, even though we have the temperature gauge, just for the appearance of things. It'd be nice to have that motometer. So we'll keep finding, we'll keep looking. We've ordered 2 and they both were already sold. So we'll keep trying. And we need to fix this because the threads are rotted out in here. So my buddy Chris and I are putting our great brains together on how we can possibly create some kind of a thread insert. But in the meantime, we're using the handyman secret weapon, duct tape, and that's working. Created a little custom funnel to catch the stuff there, but I need to extend it down a little bit and put a little, thing on the bottom so it doesn't quite, needs to be coming down further is what I'm saying. So before we do the flushing, we'll extend that a little bit, but just trying to, contain everything a little bit better. So we're draining out the cylinders right now. And remember, on this motor, the cylinders are the only part that has coolant. There's nothing down in the bottom of the engine down here at all. So it's just oil down there and then coolant up around the cylinders. Okay, yeah, go ahead and put 1 gallon in and then we'll add the flush to it.
Okay. You close the spigot here.
Yep.
Okay.
I closed that one and this one both. Of course, it's just water, but still.
Yeah.
So we're using a Permatex radiator cleaner. I'm sure this is nothing like what this stuff used to be back in the day. It used to be the best product. I had one can of this left over from probably the 80s or the 90s that I used a couple years ago now. I put it off as long as I could because I knew I could never get anything as good again, but this is whatever we could get. So let's see. It says fill it with clean water and then add 12 ounces of this. So we're not supposed to use the whole bottle, apparently. So we're only supposed to use a third of a bottle. So
Okay. So that means you can use it 3 times now.
right. My temptation would be to add the whole bottle, but
Yeah.
okay, let's add this and
So that was only 1 gallon.
yep, that's fine. So we'll you'd think they'd put a window in the bottle so you could see where it's at. And it's foamy because I shook it, so that's probably half a bottle. That's fine. Go ahead and add the other water. So make sure you wear eye protection and gloves and all that stuff because that's important. Hopefully we don't create any leaks. Can you open the petcock for the gas? We've got a little friend in our glue trap under the seat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, nice big fat mouse.
Ah.
Opened up?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't see any fuel in there yet.
You won't.
Oh.
You won't. So the carburetor leaks and it dripped everything out. So anything that was in there dripped out, and then we'd have to run it up and down the road for about 10 minutes for it to fill everything back up again.
Okay.
So it's just trickling through right now.
Yeah, okay.
The carburetor bowl is full, but
Yeah, it's running down through there, but you can't see it.
right.
Okay.
You can see we're circulating and gurgling. We're about 5 minutes in right now. Why don't you move that over a little bit?
Is that running out of the overflow?
Yes. The overflow's on this side, on the driver's side. So
Okay. So it runs into that shroud and then.
I hope that's where it's all coming from. I see some dripping out of the petcock again.
Oh.
It's pouring out of here, so that's what it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's flowing all over because of the fan and then running over.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to stand there with your face over that fan.
Or breathing that stuff.
No, yeah. The Model A that I had, after I sold it to my buddy Jim, he was running it, and all of a sudden the fan let go and went through the hood. So, especially on something that old, it's best not to stand in direct line with the fan.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened on that 51 Ford that I had.
Was it?
51 Ford had, that was V8, and it had 2 hoses for the radiator, right? Okay. So I didn't do a lot of hot rodding with it because the edge was cold. But I was out with my cousin and we came up to a back road intersection, a lot of gravel. So I stepped it down and really revved it up, let the clutch out, and bang! So, oh no, I blew the engine. And then as I was looking forward, I could see there was like something with the hood. And the car kept running, but it was shaking like crazy. So I pulled over and looked, and there was a gash in the hood, put the hood up, and one of the blades had come off of the fan, and it went up right between those two hoses, and like a can opener on the hood, put a slash in it.
Yeah.
So I was lucky it didn't hit either one of those hoses.
Yeah.
And fortunately it happened while I was driving it, not while I was revving it up, working on it, under the hood.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord it happened the way it did when it did.
Exactly.
But when you looked at it, you could see that the fan blade had cracked, and you could tell it had been quite a while because there was rust in there.
Yeah.
And you could see where the fresh brake was.
Okay.
So yeah, stay away from that. Stay away from the fan.
What are we, about 10 minutes in now?
Yeah, 7 minutes.
We'll check our temperature gauge on the dash. Running about 140 right now. 150. So if I can find my thermometer, we'll stick it in the radiator itself. I've got one for testing heating and AC just to see how they compare and make sure this is accurate. Level's gone down some. We're about 25 minutes in right now. Oil pressure's holding at about 22 pounds. Temperature's at about 160. She's gurgling. It never got above 160. Our oil pressure dropped down to about 20 at the end at that high idle and 15 at normal idle, which is in spec, but it still just makes me super paranoid because it never used to do that. It used to stay at 30 all the time, but it's in spec. It's fine. But we're going to go ahead and change the oil and put some heavier oil in it when that order comes in. So let's go ahead and get this drained out. See if I can torch my hand. And then we'll have to run fresh water through it one time to flush all that out of there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go ahead and put antifreeze in it. So
Need to let it cool for a while.
probably should, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should. We don't want to put
That
cold
water's
water.
pretty cold in a hot engine.
Yeah, exactly. Really wished I could have found that thermometer. I don't know where it went. Probably in a car somewhere is my guess. It's in a glove box. I looked around, but I didn't see it. Probably was using it when I was testing something and just left it in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I found a whole fistful of tools in a couple cars.
Ah. Okay.
2 tire pressure gauges. And okay, let's get this side draining down also. I suppose the other option is we could just go in the house and get hot water.
No. No.
Yeah, it's working perfect. Okay, Drox blaned out. And the radiator's drained out, so we'll get things closed down. I got a gallon of hot water. We'll go ahead and put in it, and we'll get it flush the flush out is what we're going to do, I guess. I did tighten down that oil fitting that was leaking as well. We got very little leakage there. We do have another water pump core coming from Wayne that we'll go through and do detailed repairs on, but this one's working okay for now. That's what came out after flushing it, so it definitely had some rust and scale in it, which is no surprise because back in those days it was alcohol-based antifreeze and didn't have the rust protecting kind of stuff. And probably in the summer they just ran water in it, be my guess. So that's terrible. But yeah, it's not bad. Be curious to strain that through like a filter into a jug and see what we get out of it. Just going to give it the stir and see what happens. Not as bad as it could have been. I'm sure my blowing that out when the motor was dry,
Yeah.
just blowing all of that dry rust out made a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
And it has sort of boiled into the water. But
right.
you can see there's like sediment collects right there.
Yeah.
Lost it. Let me try that again. Oh, you can see some of it floating
Yeah.
back and
Yeah.
forth.
There's definitely rusty chunks.
All right.
There we go. Yeah. Some of that's bubbles, but
Oh, right there. Yeah. Yeah, but there's particles floating around in there.
definitely. Yep. Cool. It should be about 120 degree water. So
Okay.
on a modern engine, I never worry about it, but on this one, I'm being overly careful.
We'll add it slow.
Yep. You got quite a ways to go before it's going to take a gallon before it even gets to the block anyway. So
Oh, okay.
be my guess. So we have just put more fresh water in it to rinse all of the acid out, and then we should be able to go ahead and get the antifreeze in it.
Yeah.
So there's what we're getting out of it right now. So we're going to run some more clean water through it until it comes out clean. We're just going to lather, rinse, and repeat. We probably should have used that magnesium sulfate stuff that they give you to clean you out. Probably worked better than radiator flush.
Miralax.
Miralax, that stuff too. Either one of them.
Yeah.
Pulling it out of there again. Oh yeah, it's getting better. It's a much brighter shade of rust now.
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll lather, rinse, repeat.
Yep. And it's not as foamy.
Right, well, because there's no acid in this as much. So.
Yeah, true.
But still a lot of rust coming out, so we're going to do it again until we get it clear.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any. No, there doesn't seem to be any larger floaties in there.
Good. This was flush number 3, so it's almost looking like water.
Yeah, you can see there's, when it's shallow here, you can see through it a little bit there.
Yep. I wouldn't drink it yet, but
Yeah.
be high in iron.
Yeah.
Probably a little heavy on the acidity, though.
Looks a little like ginger ale.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, filling again. This is our 4th time?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. Hopefully it comes out clean this time, because this is, for you guys on the video, it's not that bad. But for us here, this is monotonous. What'd you do? Filled it up, drained it out. What'd you do? Filled it up, drained it out.
Yeah.
All topped off.
So it's literally the flush, rinse, and repeat.
Yep, exactly. Definitely better. It's. I think we're going to do it one more time.
Yeah, can't see the bottom yet, but you can
Right.
See over on the sides here, it's got some
Yeah.
clarity there.
You know, the bottom is rusty in this anyway, so it's
Oh,
not going to pop
okay.
out real good. But
Not going to show up real well.
no, it's not going to show up like the side does. But
Yeah.
but it's still, you know, I
Yep.
still wouldn't take a good drink out of that. So okay, and I think we'll start the cool down process a little bit and not put as much hot water in this time, so we're ready to put the antifreeze in next time.
Okay.
So we've been putting 2 gallons of hot and then topping it off with cold. I think we'll put 1 gallon of hot and then just top it off with cold. And we should be
Okay.
okay. So, I mean, the motor's not really hot, but we're just being extra careful because it's ancient. So that looks better. Yeah, you can see right through to the rusty bottom of the pan now. So.
Yep.
Okay, I think we can live with that.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. Yep, I think we're good. Okay, finally putting the green stuff in. So we flushed that, what, 6 times?
5 or 6, yeah.
You guys on the video will know better than we do because you're seeing this in 30 minutes, and for us, this has been 3 hours. So.
And we did close the valve, right?
You would know by now if I didn't. Well, we were going to take it for a drive and just check everything, and it's raining. So we did get that tire fixed anyway. So that's a good job done. I'll get that car out of the way later. But so one of the things I wanted to do was play with the speedometer and see while we were driving what was going on. So we put the rear end up on jacks, and we'll just fire it up and see if the speedometer cable is actually turning from the transmission. That'll tell us if the issue is in the speedometer head or if it's the cable or something in the transmission. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to watch if this unit here, that square thing, turns once we start it up. So. Of course, it'll have to be in gear also. Okay, so that tells us the problem's down in the transmission because it's not turning at all. So it's either the cable itself or the transmission. So we'll crawl under there and take a peek.
Okay.
I don't feel anything trying at all.
Can you turn it from this end?
I tried and it doesn't. So
Oh, I see.
it
Yeah.
springs back. So okay, so we had crawled under there, disconnected it, and Dad watched in the car when I spun it, and the cable spin. So the problem is got to be in the transmission. So when I talk to Wayne next time, we'll find out if there's some simple thing or if it's they never worked right when they were new.
Yeah.
So, which I just said too, that also then we don't know when it quit. So the mileage could be completely wrong. So the thought of, what was it, 60,000 miles or whatever's on the odometer, we have no idea if that's accurate or not.
Yeah, that's a minimum.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Somebody coming right up on us. I think that's the only one. So for something different, we thought we would drain out some coolant. Reason being is we need to put the hood back on. We forgot about that, which means we have to take the upper radiator hose off so that we can tip the radiator forward to get the hood hinge into its two end pockets. So if it was like a Ford, you could just unbolt one end of it and do it without, but it's not like a Ford. So you want to close that hood again? So we got the hood back on. We had to realign the radiator. It was off a little bit. Yeah, latch it and can you catch this side also? And once we're sure it's in position, we'll go ahead and I'll tighten that radiator down. Yeah, that looks better than it did before.
It's lining up better now.
Yeah.
It's open a little bit here.
Yeah, it's probably the way it is. But I don't think is it that way on the back also? Yeah. Is the gap narrow at the top and wide at the bottom?
I got it screwed up on this side.
So go ahead and latch it.
It's about even there, I think. Oh, might have been the way I had it latched. Yeah, that's better. It's a little wider down there. But
Okay, the back is the one I'm concerned. Yeah, yeah. So you can see that it's narrower up here.
yeah.
That means it's got frame sag, so that's normal. Because that's right where the mounts are. It's typical of cars of this era, where those mounts are, where the main weight of the whole motor and transmission is. Over time, that frame settles, and so so the hood will never line up right. On my Model A, it had the same thing, and I shimmed the body up to minimize that. But
Well, it's just like an old horse to get sway back.
exactly. So it's for as old as it is, but it's pretty normal on a car of this vintage to have that. When you see the hood line is got a V in it. So the way to fix it, of course, is you put it on a frame jig and bend the front of the frame down, but it's fine. I'm not going to mess with it. So the last piece is put the light bar back on, and it'll be back to where it was 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I guess. The slots go forward. That's the license plate mount.
Okay. And
The C goes down and the slots go forward.
oh, I see.
Yep.
It goes in like that.
You could, but you'd have to weld it.